Good morning, Pack Yogis. Terry here with about a 40-minute class to help us with resilience and boost our immune system. What we're going to do today is use some prompts from home since we're not in the studio and many of us don't have the equipment that we need. I do have a mat, but you don't need that. You can just use the floor, maybe a blanket or a rug. I also have a small blanket available and some pillows here. So I'm just going to use one pillow at this point and come to a comfortable seated position. And what I like to do is arrange my support so that I can have my pelvis in about a 30-degree tilt. As you know, in practicing classes with me, I have a big investment in people understanding that having this slight tilt in the pelvis is actually what's considered neutral, and it not only helps us with our range of motion and lower back issues, but also affects the rest of the vertebral column and how things line up. So we know that many things that are happening in the hips and in the pelvis affect what's going on in the shoulders, neck, and head. And so we want to try to get that neutral position at the base of our support and have our knees released down. It's maybe hard to tell here, but they're slightly lower than my hips. If I was tighter, I might take two other pillows in the seated position and just support my legs in this way so I can release into the gravity. So we're back basically in a comfortable seated position in neutral spine, allowing our chest to open, allowing our collarbones to be wide, a sense of lightness in the head, our chins hopefully parallel to the floor. And as we're seated, I would like to start off practicing some breath. So we know that how we engage in the breath can really help with our immune system support and resilience if we're really trying to engage the ventral vagal system or increase our vagal tone. So we can do this just by a sigh. So just take a moment and just do a natural, maybe a little bit louder than usual sigh. And then just maybe try that again. Well, in our yoga breath, we're very much doing the same thing, but we're going to try it now with our mouth closed so we can build a moist kind of heat. So just try to take that understanding of a sigh and see if you can do it with your mouth closed. And so now we might even take it a little bit more gentle, using a sigh with the mouth closed, and maybe trying to have a little bit more equal length of the inhale and the exhale breath. So the idea is that you feel the belly working, the diaphragm expanding and contracting with the breath. So continue with that breath, close your eyes, and start to scan your body from head to toe. And just noting any sensation or feeling of tension or tightness, see if you can release that sensation, that tension with your exhale breath. And you might work from head to toe or the other way around. Just notice in the shoulders, wherever you are, if you feel any sense of a little bit more stress than you'd like to have, see if you can use your breath and just release it. And maybe bring a gentle half smile to yourself. And then at this point, if you'd like to make an intention for the rest of your practice, go ahead and make that intention. And then we'll release the hands to the floor, the palms turning up. Nice big inhale breath, reaching the arms overhead. Palms will come together. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring your hands right to your heart center. And then releasing your hands, gently open your eyes if you've closed them. Nice. So we're going to start with a little ventral vagal exercise to help us with our range of motion in our neck and release the tension in our shoulders. So what I'd like you to do is take one hand and place it right at your nose, and then take the other arm and bring it out to the side, right to 90 degrees. Now, keeping your nose and head exactly where it is, we want to go ahead and look to the right, all the way to the thumb. And we want to center our gaze there for about 4 to 5 breaths. Just continue using your size, your gentle size, mouth closed, gazing intently but not too hard to the right. And then we'll bring that hand at the center and change sides. Bring the other arm to the side, looking forward with our heads. We're going to bring our gaze now to the left. Just staring to the left, maybe wiggling your thumb, and taking there about 5 to 6 breaths. And then bring your palms together, hands at the heart, release your hands down. Now go ahead and turn your head to the right, and keeping the chin parallel to the floor. And anytime you feel any catching or pulling, you're going to pause or stop there. Then you're going to inhale to the center, taking your time, take an exhale. Another inhale. And then we'll exhale, turning our head to the other side. So if you've been to my class, you know I have everybody kind of do a baseline check with their range of motion before they do that eye exercise. Might be something you'd like to try at home, just to see how far you can turn your head. And then do that little activity gazing to the side. And then we'll bring the head forward. And that's because our vagus nerve is the ventral vagus nerve is connected to the muscles and the nerves that control the eyes, the neck, and the head. And so we know if we can kind of use those little tricks, it'll help us with our range of motion in the neck and reduce tension in the shoulders. So we'll just take a few shoulder rolls up, back, and down here. I want you to just really feel the shoulder blades leading the movement. I want you to notice the position of where the elbows are pointing and the openness or closed sensation of the shoulders wherever the elbows are. Good, and then just relax down. At this point, we're going to inhale both arms up toward the sky, right alongside the ears. Just do the best you can. Now take your right hand to the floor. And as you inhale, reach up a little bit further and exhale. And take a lateral bend to the right. We're going to pull the left ribs back and right ribs underneath. And I'm not going to reverse my sides because I don't want to mislead you. So you can just follow along the same side or follow my voice. Good. So our left sitting bone is rooting down. We're going to look down here at the floor. The chin is slightly tucked, and again, we're pulling the left ribs back, right ribs forward. Inhale, both arms reach up. As you exhale, take the left hand to the floor. Good, inhale, reach up a little bit more, rooting the right sitting bone down and taking that lateral bend to the left. And then we're going to pull the right ribs back and left ribs underneath and look down with a slightly tucked position with our chin breathing. Stretching through the arms. Good, then inhale, come on back to the center. We're going to take the arms forward, interlace the fingers, and at this point, press your palms forward and stretch your upper back into a more rounded cat-like position. If it's bothering your low back, you don't have to tuck. And then release that. Come back to sitting. Take your hands behind you now, interlacing the fingers. If that's too challenging, you can always hold on to a towel, taking the towel behind you in both hands. We're going to inhale the chest up, the arms down, and then we're going to lift the arms behind us. Now we're pressing the shoulder blades together fairly intently, pressing the palms as close as we can if the hands are bound. If you're holding onto a strap or a towel, again, getting the same kind of sensation of pressing the arm bones, shoulder blades together, and maybe having the inner creases of the elbows face more outward. And just breathe. Notice if you've lost your alignment in your belly a little bit, just try to pull it back in without rounding the spine. So again, I'm pressing the shoulder blades together, lifting up, and the tops of my shoulders are going to kind of roll forward here, but that's okay. And we're breathing. We're going to release gently the towel or the bind, and we're going to take the right arm underneath the left and come into Garudasana, eagle arms. We're going to lift the elbows and drop the shoulder blades. You might even take your forearm closer to your forehead with your hands resting there if you like. But try to take that top arm and press into the bottom arm with about 20 to 25% effort, just so we can get some release through the rotator cuff area. Just breathing here. Again, come back to the side. Good, and then just releasing the arms down. Now we're going to take the left hand to the floor, reach the right arm up, rooting the right sitting bone down. A lateral bend again to the left, looking down with a slight tuck of the chin. We're going to press into that hand a bit and pull the right ribs back, left ribs underneath. Breathing here. Inhale, come on up. Take the elbow and bend it. And now stretch through the tricep area, pressing the head back, lifting the chest. Breathe. If you want to add another little lateral bend to the left, if you feel comfortable with that, you can do that. Just pulling the right ribs back and left ribs forward so we can try to have as much symmetry in this asymmetrical position. And then releasing that stretch, the arm's going to come down on the exhale. Left arm's going to inhale up here. As you exhale, look down to the right hand, slightly tuck chin. Press into the floor a bit to help you turn the rib cage straight. And stretch and breathe. Left sitting bone is rooting down. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, take the arm back, behind the head, between the shoulder blades, just trying to keep track of our time here. Press the head back into the arms, breathe. So again, we never want to press the arm into the head, but pressing the head into the arm is fine. Just breathing here, stretching through the tricep. If that's too much, all right, you can always take any variation that feels better. Perhaps you'd rather feel more comfortable pulling the arm across. But see what you can do here. And again, if you want to add a little lateral bend here without the support of the right hand, if that feels okay. Good, and then we're going to inhale, come on up, release the arms down as you exhale. Nice. Now at this point, we're going to take the hands behind us again, interlacing the fingers a second way or grabbing your towel. Bend the elbows back, pressing the shoulder blades together. Inhale, lift the chest and straighten the arms, and then lift the arms behind you as you press your palms, your collarbones feeling very wide here. And your rib cage is in a more back bendy feel, but see if you can just try to pull them a little closer together in the front, so that we're not overarching the back. Just want to feel a sense of having tautness in the belly without tucking the tailbone. And then we're going to release the arms, and the right arm will come underneath the left, coming to the Garudasana eagle pose. And then we're pressing the top arm into the bottom arm, about 20 to 25% effort. I'm hoping I told you the right arm. If it's not right, just please correct it. And breathe. Good, and then releasing the arms again. We're going to inhale the left arm up and come over again to the right. This time though, we're going to just start to turn a bit. So use your hand, press it into the floor and start to turn the rib cage toward the right thigh. And if you feel like it would be better to cross the legs in another position, if you've stayed in that position too long, go ahead and take that for yourself. So we're just turning a little bit, but now what I want you to start to do is let the left hip move forward and the right hip move back. Right? So we're just letting the left hip move forward and right hip move back, and we're kind of at a diagonal. Then we're going to take that left hand to the thigh. The right hand is going to come behind us, somewhere on the floor comfortable. Now just relax a moment. Take a nice inhale breath to lengthen the spine, and as you exhale, just turn and keep letting that left hip move forward and right hip pull back. So we don't want to glue the sit bones to the mat or to the bolster or pillow. We want to let the hips move here. So we have a nice range of motion with our rib cage, and we're gazing to the right shoulder. Then we're going to inhale the head to the midline and exhale the head over to the opposite shoulder. Breathing here, looking down softly, and again, maybe a slight smile to yourself. And then we're going to release that twist. And because my left hip is further forward than my right, I'm going to go ahead and bring it back so that I'm symmetrical again, right and left side of the body. Then I'm going to take my right arm up to the sky. And as I exhale, I'm going to start to turn the torso. But as I'm doing that, I'm letting the right hip move forward and the left hip move back. So I want you to just let that happen. Bring your hip adjustment to where it's not hurting the low back. Take your hand to the outside of your thigh, if you can. Inhale, lengthen up, and exhale, just turning the ribs and letting the hip of the right side move forward, left hip move back. Now the gaze is to the left shoulder, chin parallel to the floor, and take some good cleansing breaths here. So a big part of our resilience is working through the breath and the diaphragm, massaging the heart and lung vagal area on the top of the diaphragm and all the organs below. And then we'll inhale the head toward the midline and exhale it as we gaze to the right shoulder. Again, chin parallel to the floor. Breathing here, gaze is down, maybe a half smile to yourself. Very nice, and then just releasing that twist, and then we're going to bring the hips again to an even position. I'm going to go ahead and take my pillow and move it out to the side. So now I'm going to lay down, and I'm going to have the blanket nearby and the towel nearby, and we've kind of worked through the upper body and the torso. Now we're going to go more to the low body. So we're going to come to a neutral spine laying down on the mat. So I want you to just gently bring your feet to the floor, knees bent. As you come down, you may want to kind of draw the ribs out of the pelvis if that doesn't bother your low back. And then we're going to tuck the shoulder blades underneath. Good. And so at this point, I'm going to take my legs and just bring them gently into the chest. The thighs come toward each other. And I'm going to hold the knees very gently. And without moving my torso too much, I'm just going to stir my thighs and my hip sockets. Just stirring gently, continuing to breathe, and then reversing it. And I'm trying to have my head in a position where my chin now would be parallel to the wall. And then I'm going to hold on to my right leg and let the left foot come to the floor. I'm going to extend the right leg to the sky and just gently start to circle my foot around in one direction, spreading my toes wide and then reversing it. And now I'm going to flex my foot and spread my toes and engage my kneecap. And I'm really making a strong quadricep muscle area here, and just holding some resistance to my outer leg or the back of my calf. So if I was to release it, my leg would go thump. But I'm resisting that stretch using some of our proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation, our PMF stretch, where we can take advantage of contracting one side to help the other side stretch. So we're really contracting the quads and the hip flexor here, right? And then we're going to just relax the leg, and hopefully you'll have the leg be able to come closer to the body. Then the knee's going to bend. We'll take the other leg in, and the right leg, foot to the floor, left leg is now going to extend to the sky. Again, trying to get that comfortable area in the back of the head so the chin's parallel to the wall. And gently, I'm just going to hold my leg, not a lot of contraction there, and just circle. And if it's hard for you to do that, right, you might take a towel or a belt just to kind of help you support the leg. So reversing it, spreading the toes. And we often hear a little popping or clicking when that's going on. And sometimes when we go to reach a leg, we round the upper body, right, and kind of get flexed up here. So if you find that happens, try to settle it back down. And now we're going to spread the toes wide and flex your foot, feeling a nice stretch through the back of the calf, because we want to stretch through the hamstrings, but we're going to do a little bit more of that PNF here by engaging the quadricep muscles and engaging the hip flexor and using my hands now to resist the leg. So again, if I were to release it, my leg would thump to the floor. And we're going to take some good breaths here. Breathe. I want you to try to feel the evenness in the right and left side of your body, especially your torso and hips and shoulders here. So it's a little bit different with this left leg extended. You're going to feel more weight right on one side than the other. Typically, we're kind of rolling onto the one side. So see if you can just level it out. And then you're just going to relax the leg and gently pull it in, breathing here. Breathing here. And then we're going to bend that knee, take the foot to the floor, and then we're going to let the feet come to mats width apart, just feeling the edge of the mat with your feet. And your arms are going to come to a comfortable position at the side. I'm going to tuck my shoulder blades underneath and get that comfortable place on the back of the head, trying to keep in mind that neutral position of my neck. And now I'm just going to let the legs drift over to the right and linger there for a moment. Inhale back to the center. And then exhale to the other side. And then inhale to the center. And exhale to the side. Now I'm going to let my head drift to the left as my legs go to the right. Inhaling everything back to midline, and the brain and the nervous system really like to work toward midline. It helps it to feel balanced from top to bottom and right and left side, more integrated. So just inhaling back to center, exhaling to the side. So the next time you're going to be on the right side, and you're going to stay there. We're going to add a little bit of a stretch through the hip flexor here. So just pay attention. We're going to take the right foot, if we can, and place it right on the front thigh. And then I'd like you to use your blanket and support the leg if you need that there. And now you're going to press the left hip up. So the left hip is pressing forward so that my hip and my knee are kind of in a line, getting a nice stretch through the hip flexor, but also through the quadricep muscles. But I want you to try to relax your buttocks here. Just press your thigh into your foot and your foot into your thigh. And pause here and breathe if you can. You can even bend the left arm in a 90-degree angle and grab the mat to help support, or grab whatever you can that might help anchor you down the upper body a little bit more. So I'm just pressing up through that hip. Now I'm going to relax my hip down. And I'm going to move the blanket to the side. And then we're going to now cross the top right leg over the bottom and just let that weight go down. And again, you can use a blanket or pillow here, or you can take it under the left knee. And then I'm looking to the left and I'm breathing. Again, just a gentle sighs, using the belly, even placing your hand on the belly to feel the rise and fall. So we're going to kind of move to a pigeon variation here. You're going to heel toe your left foot to the floor, but at the same time you're flexing the right foot to protect the ankle. Now once the foot gets to the floor, you've got both hips on the ground. I'm going to move the blanket so you can see. At this point, I'm going to try to grab my right leg and cradle it in. This might be a little challenging for some of you. So just do the best you can. You can also take your right hand and press your thigh away as you pull your foot in, and it's flexed, it's protected, right? And then I'm going to take my left thigh toward my right ankle and bring that closer toward me. I'm still pressing the right thigh away. I can prop my elbow on the floor here and breathing. And I want you to notice if your tailbone is curling up significantly, please try to place it down, or even take a little blanket or towel and place it under there so that you can have some support. But you're pressing the thigh away, and we're stretching through these external rotators. And you can add a little circling again with the left foot if you like. Trying to keep again the quality of the shoulders to the ground, chest open, collarbones wide. So I'm going to hold on to my leg here. Just a couple more breaths. I'm just feeling like that I should stay here a little bit longer. Maybe that'll be good for you to do too. Breathe. So now I'm holding on to my leg and letting my foot go to the floor. I'm going to let that left leg just open to the side. And if you have a towel, you can use it around your foot, right? Or maybe just grab the inside of your heel with your right hand. I'd like you to focus on keeping the imprint of the back body on the ground. You can take your left hand and press into the thigh. We're going to start to extend the right leg open. And again, you can use a strap or towel here, and stretching through those hamstrings a little bit more, through the adductor muscles a little bit more, breathing here. So you can look toward the left here, breathe. If you want more, extend the left leg so that's descending right below the hip socket. And then maybe you'll have a little bit more range of motion, but my left hip is down on the floor, it's not popping up, and my left foot is very active, which I don't think you can see, but it's very flexed, and I'm pressing my heel to the floor. A few more breaths. Again, your gaze can be to the left. Breathe. So if my leg is extended, or if your leg is extended on the left side, you're going to bend it in. Or if it's open to the side, you're going to bring it in. And now we're going to take that top leg and bring it back to midline. This is where a strap or towel is really useful. Just to hold on with your left hand. You're going to turn your right thigh bone out a couple of inches. So I like to tell people, imagine a clock is on the ceiling. You're going to turn your toes to 1 or 130. Both hips are on the ground. Now we're just going to cross our midline. What we don't want to do is have this hip come up. We want to keep this nice turn out. You can even use your hand, right, to kind of anchor down, and then just cross here and breathe. Good inhales, full exhales. Again, come back to sighing if you need to. So about 5 or 6 breaths here. And then we're going to release that. We're going to cross the top leg over. Now our hands go to the floor. We press into the left foot to lift our hips up and over a few inches to the right. So my left frontal hip bone is almost like in line with my knee. At this point, I'm going to take a towel or my blanket or maybe even your pillow, because we're going to twist gently. But before you do it, I want you to take a good inhale breath. And I want you to take your time as you exhale slowly. So the sensation is like your belly is turning to the right as your legs go to the left. And you're trying to anchor down your right shoulder or rib cage area to the floor. So some of you may want to rest that leg on the pillow, right, if you need to. And some of you who have a hard time getting the arm on the floor, you may want to relax it on the blanket. So that, again, we never want to fight the gravity here. If I can't get my arm down here, I'm going to bring that blanket or towel to that position so that I can have the support. And as I inhale here, right, I'm going to kind of lengthen my spine. Exhale, I'm going to turn with more intention my upper body to the right and anchor my lower body to the left. And of course, for any yogis who want a little bit more, right, you can make sure your left hip is in line with your spine and grab that left foot and then extend the top leg by grabbing the outer edge of the foot and then gazing to the right. So from here, let's take some good cleansing breaths. Inhaling again, fully, exhaling completely. Just taking what you need for yourself. And just a couple more breaths. So at this point, we're gently going to unwind, and I want you to anticipate that you want to bring the left foot to the floor. That as soon as it gets there, you're going to lift up the hip and bring them underneath the shoulders. We're going to take both knees into the chest, thighs close together. We're just going to stir the hips gently and then reverse it. And now as I hold on to my left leg, my right foot goes to the floor, and then my left foot, I'm going back to that mat's width apart. So you can stay where you are. I'm just going to turn around so that you can see what I'm doing on this side. I may have to turn back again, excuse me. So at this point, feet on the floor, and we're going to let the legs go back to the right, head to the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale to the center. If you need to slow it down even more, you can. And also, if you're running out of breath, remember just to pause at the end of the inhale or at the end of the exhale counts as an extension of that inhale or exhale breath. So the next time we're on the left side, we're going to stay there, and we're going to go to that more focus on the hip flexor. So we're going to take the left foot, put it right on the front of that left thigh. My right hip is off the ground, but now I'm going to press my hip up, and that's going to let my left leg come down, and I'm just using my right arm onto the floor, and I'm pressing my foot into my leg and my leg into my foot. So I'm getting a stretch through this hip flexor area, as well as you're going to feel a bit of a twist here, and breathe. So remember, if you need any support under that right knee, you can just throw your pillow under there. Couple more breaths. I'm pressing my hip forward and pressing my foot into my front thigh. And there's a lifting. And I'll just turn around so you can see, in case you need to get a better idea. I'm lifting my hip off the floor. So trying to kind of stay as relaxed as you can in your right gluteal area, which is a little hard, but it's still going to be taught to help you stretch the hip on the other side, of the opposite side. Good. So then you're going to release down, and you're just going to cross that top leg over the bottom leg, left leg over the right, and weigh that leg down wherever you can. And if you need the pillow under there to support it, you can do that. I'm going to turn back around so you can get the view from this side. So I'm okay with not having the pillow there, but some people might find that it's really more comfortable for their knees, or they're getting more out of the stretch. So here the right arm is turned up, palm is up, you're in a 90-degree angle. You can use some resistance with this left hand pressing into the thigh, and it feels like my belly is turning to the right as I exhale, really fully. Good inhale breath. Again, you can use your hand on your belly if you like. Just trying to get a really nice sense of the diaphragm massaging your internal organs. So please remember to adjust for whatever you need to help yourself relax more into the pose and to feel more comfortable. So I had to kind of move my foot around to make it a little more comfortable. Maybe a blanket under your foot might be good. So please just feel free to grab whatever that is that can help you just feel more relaxed. And so now we're going to go into that pigeon, supine pigeon kind of pose. I'm going to heel toe my left foot to the floor, and I'm going to flex my right foot and cross my ankle at my thigh. I'm digging my elbows to the ground because I kind of moved my lower back out of line with my shoulders in the twist, and I want to line up everything. So now I'm going to try to keep my shoulders fairly relaxed into the ground, collarbone wide, and see if I can grab my right leg. And I'm going to try to keep my foot flexed, pull my foot in, and press my thigh away. So breathing here, just do the best you can. You may not be able to flex so much into that position, but just kind of imagine you're going to a tree pose position and you're stopping before you get there. Just trying to stretch that hip. Notice if the right hip is really coming off the floor. Try to get it down, or take the blanket or towel and kind of wedge it under there to support your back there. Again, trying to keep my chin parallel to the floor. Now I'm going to take the left thigh and bring it in at my ankle. I'm going to keep pressing my right thigh away. Or I can interlace my fingers behind my thigh to go deeper here, but being mindful that I don't want to curl my lower back off the floor too much, right? I want to keep my spine in a more neutral position, particularly if you're having any lower disc issues or any problems in the low back. Often we don't want to do a lot of flexion in the low back. Just working more toward that extension. Breathing here. If you're holding on to the shin area, just make sure you're not pulling onto the knee. But all the while, I'm resisting my right leg away at my thigh bone and knee area and bringing my ankle and foot toward my body. So I'm going to keep holding on to my right leg here. Again, a few more breaths. Again, I can circle that left foot around a few times again. And I'm going to release the left foot to the floor. And one option might be to let the leg open. I can just keep it where it was here if that feels better. So you can use your towel, right? And either place it around the leg and take it up to the sky. Or maybe you can grab your foot at your heel and then try to open and extend the leg out to the side. So we're keeping the left hip down, pressing that left leg open, the right leg is open to the side, and breathing. And we might gaze to the left with our soft eyes, our relaxed face, maybe a half smile to yourself. And again, if you want more, you might extend that leg. We just want to make sure it's coming right out of the hip socket. So I like to encourage people to kind of look and see if your toes are lining up with your hip socket. And that might often give us more range of motion by having the leg extended. We're going to have more range of motion on the other side. But what we don't want to do is let that hip pop off the ground, which is why this is kind of a nice trick if you're struggling with that, to keep the knee bent and open. You really have a hard time letting that hip come up. But that left foot is going to be active, pressing the heel to the floor, breathing here. And you can even try to contract that right leg a couple of breaths and then relax it a few times. Again, full inhales, complete exhales. And then we're going to draw the leg back to midline. We're going to bend the other knee if the leg was straight, or bring the leg in. And then we're going to grab our towel or our belt and place it around the arched area of the foot with our hand, of the right hand holding it, the left hand. And then now again, if you're looking at the ceiling, you want to turn your leg out, right? So the toes turn out. And let's see, I turned around, so it would be probably more to like 11 o'clock for you, but you get my meaning. Just turn that leg out without letting it open to the side. And then we're going to cross our midline. And as you do that, I want you to kind of tweeze your right sitting bone in towards your left. So what we're doing is just trying to anchor that right hip down and in. Breathing here, keeping the foot flexed. A few more breaths here. And now we're going to release the towel. I'm going to cross my right leg over my left. I'm going to press my left foot into the floor, lift my hips up and over to the right so that my hip is kind of in line with my nose. I'm going to open my arms to support my body. Take a good inhale breath and maybe have a pillow nearby. As I exhale, I'm going to let my hips gently, slowly exhale and let the legs go into that deeper twist. Again, for some of us, it may be nice to have a pillow to support the leg there. The right palm can be turned up in a 90-degree angle. You're looking to the right. You can use your left hand to press into that right leg. And it's on the exhale, you kind of want to press the right rib cage down, turn the belly a little bit more to the right. Continue breathing with your diaphragm, using that ujjayi breath, or the sighs that you can really help your diaphragm be involved with your breath, because this is our detoxing. This is a big part of helping our resilience and stress busting. So a few more breaths. And again, now for the yogis who just want a little bit more, if you take your left hip and literally lay it more on the floor, stacking the right hip on top, you can grab the left foot so the knee is in line with the hip, and then maybe grabbing the outside of the right foot, extend the leg out, and then we're still trying to keep the right rib cage to the floor and the head facing to the right. And again, this may be a good place to put a foot on a pillow, right, or a towel if you're doing that, or maybe you just want to stay where you were, and that's good enough. So breathe. Couple more breaths here. And then we're going to slowly dial it back to our neutral spine. So I'm going to let my left foot heel toe through the floor. And as soon as it gets there, I can use my arms as well. I'm going to just scoot my hips back underneath my shoulders. Take my right knee and then my left knee into my chest. Again, legs close together. I can rock or I can stir my thighs. And then reverse it. And then I'll take the right foot to the floor and then the left foot to the floor. So what we'll do now is grab your blanket or your pillow, right? So I have a kind of a thinner, longer pillow here. I'm going to lift my hips up. I'm going to place this underneath my hips. I'm going to kind of roll it up a bit, right? And rest my hips on top of here. Then I'm going to extend my legs. And so now I'm getting, again, more of a stretch through my hip flexor areas. I'm going to open my legs a little bit wider, tuck my shoulder blades underneath. If you don't like the legs extended, you can keep them bent here, or you might even just try one leg at a time. See what feels right for you. But again, you just really wanting to get that sense of having more of a stretch through the hip and allowing that low back to arch slightly, like a supportive bridge, but our legs are extended. If you'd like, you can turn your palms up and tuck the shoulder blades underneath, and just breathe. Now you can continue to stay here, or if you feel like you need a little bit more stretch through the back body, bend your knees, let your hips be nicely supported on whatever it is that you're resting them on. You're going to take your left foot and leg in, and then your right leg, and we're just going to prop the thighs up, bending the knees into candlestick pose. So we have a nice inversion here. And taking about 10 breaths here. And then we'll bend the knees back in, take the left foot to the floor and then the right foot to the floor. And just lift the hips gently, pulling your bolster to the side, releasing your back to the floor. If you want to take longer and take Shavasana, put on a nice tune and listen to that to help you relax. I'd like to encourage you to do that longer. Otherwise, you're going to reach and stretch your body in opposite directions. And then you're going to draw your legs in, lift your hips up and over to the left to help you roll on your right side. And we'll take a few breaths here. And then as you're ready, just work your way up. So I'm not sure exactly how long that was, but I hope it was not too long and not too short for you guys. Just coming back to a comfortable seated position. Let yourself settle in. And again, if you can take any more time with your legs up the wall or in a Shavasana with one of your favorite relaxing songs, I'd like to encourage you to do that. And if you made an intention for your practice this morning, please think about how you might take that with you throughout your day, how you might pay attention to your stress level, come back to a safer place in your body, a more relaxed place in your body. That can often help our minds settle down and feel much more calm and at peace, which is always better to be able to have a sense of calmness and peace in the midst of some of the chaos in the world. I wish everyone well. Please stay well and hope to see you soon. And namaste. Goodbye.